The British Library used to be my unofficial office. Once I even argued that for writers, the British Library was the best aspect of living in London. But the UK's National Library now feels a bit like a throwback to pre-internet times. Books have to be ordered in person using paper slips. Much of its digital content is inaccessible. The problems trace back to a ransomware attack in October 2023, which paralyzed IT systems. The Russian hacker group Rhysida claimed responsibility and demanded a ransom of 20 Bitcoin, equivalent to £600,000 at the time. After the British Library refused to pay up, and following an online auction of stolen data, the hackers leaked the nearly 600 GB of private information on the dark web. It wasn't until January 2024 that the online catalog became usable again, and even this was an incomplete version. The organization has prepared users for a lengthy recovery process, noting that it could take several months just to analyze the leaked data. The library has not specified a time frame for further recovery, but outside observers believe that it could take a year. The British Library declined to comment for this article. The good news is that this is an unusually long time frame for recovery from a cyber attack. According to the data site Statista, from 2020 to mid-2022, the average amount of downtime following a ransomware attack in the U.S. was 24 days. A UK government survey conducted in 2022 to 23 found that 88% of businesses and 84% of charities had been able to restore their operations within 24 hours of their most devastating cyber breach or attack. But protracted recovery isn't unheard of. From identifying affected IT systems to decrypting servers, uninstalling non-functional applications, blocking connections, disabling accounts, and restoring uninfected backups, each step can create bottlenecks. To some extent, the longer-term recovery depends on the amount of rebuilding or new system construction an organization does following a cyber attack. For the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, SEPA, which was hit by a ransomware attack back in December 2020, this process is continuing today. SEPA made the decision to build back better from new rather than re-establish legacy systems, according to a spokesperson for the agency. There are many variables determining the length of cyber attack recovery. These include the type and number of systems affected, the quality and quantity of backups, the experience of IT staff, and the sophistication of both the attack and the initial response. For instance, with the rise of cloud computing, it's become increasingly common for companies to use hypervisors, which basically generate digital versions, virtual machines, of physical computer systems. Ransomware attackers can encrypt the hypervisor, locking up multiple systems and programs in one go. It's a trend being seen by Mandiant, a cybersecurity firm that is now a subsidiary of Google Cloud. In a situation where a hypervisor is running many programs critical to business operations, the impact is more significant, and in some cases can actually impact the underlying infrastructure that the organization would use to be able to get back up and running more quickly, says Kimberly Moody, the head of cybercrime analysis at Mandiant. The size of the organization could also be a factor. A larger organization could take a longer time to recover, because when you look at the staff-to-systems ratio, it could be much higher than a smaller organization, Ms. Goody says. In the anomalous cases where recovery drags on into months or even years, one potential reason is that an organization's backups might have been encrypted and they haven't been able to restore them, Ms. Goody comments. For instance, it may be a painfully slow process to obtain a decryption key. Ensuring that backups are created and tested frequently is one way that organizations can make themselves more resilient to cyber attack.